Jay Martinez with Fight Hub TV. I'm here with Derrick James here in Dallas, Texas for the Triad Combat event. First of all, Derrick, I want to get your thoughts on this new event. You know, I just talked to you. You're like, it's actually pretty cool, really interesting. What are your thoughts of the first two fights that we just witnessed?
Man, it's pretty interesting because it's like you can't run anywhere. It's real fighters fighting fighters, and it's real fighters fighting. I think it's cool to see how intense it is and how hard they're going at it. They're really going at it for real, so it's real good.
Now,
it's entertaining.
It's entertaining. Have you seen the gloves?
I saw the gloves. I walked by the locker room in the box. Real small, man, yeah. 8 ounce though, but just different in composition.
One of the fighters just told me that those gloves feel like almost Cleto Reyes, like, you know, they're for power punching. And I felt them.
Right.
Oh, man.
Hey, man, they're really small. I don't know where the weight is at, maybe on the wrist, because the knuckle part is not so big, but it's okay. Yeah. Listen, and really, these are real men and real women fighting. Like everybody else talking, these are real people fighting, like tough men and tough women fighting this thing. I mean, just to watch them get hit with those shots, it's real.
You seen the ring as well, right? It's like half of a ring. It's half a ring, right?
It's really funny. Half of a boxing is funny, yeah.
You know, I've been asking this all week, and I think this is really important. Do you believe this is going to revolutionize the style of combat for fighters, both MMA and boxers, to step into this triad combat, given it's been successful so far tonight? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about how far to go and the depths of it, but I know that it's pretty entertaining, man. It's pretty fun to watch. I think it's just be another avenue. Like you got MMA, you got boxing, and you got this. It's like boxing and MMA merged. So I think it's pretty, the concept, which I don't, for me, I never care every guy's a tough guy. You're an MMA fighter, you're an amazing fighter, you're a boxer, you're a tough guy. So I don't care who's the best. That doesn't bother me. I mean, I don't care who's the best, right? But to see them merge together, it's pretty dope.
I want to gather your thoughts on a couple of fights previously. The first one, the opportunity that was supposed to be presented to yourself, obviously what happened with Errol. Pacquiao versus Ugas. I know I spoke with you after that fight briefly, but I still want to gather your thoughts. What were your final thoughts on Pacquiao's performance, as well talking about his retirement?
I think that I mean, he did what he did. I mean, I think that he did his best. And Ugas was just a little bit too much for him, too big for him. I mean, he treated him like a little, if you think about it like this, he treated him like he was supposed to treat him. He's a smaller guy. You handle a smaller guy like that. You push him around, you kind of let him know you're the bigger guy. And not to mention you had a great skill set that helped him be able to do that. But that's how you handle a small guy like that. I mean, you've never been able to handle like that because the other guys are not so athletic, not so great fighters, but this guy was a good fighter.
At the end of the night, Errol's very active on Twitter.
Right.
To me, I felt like he was like, man, this could have been my opportunity. I could have seized the moment. Right. And as well, I got that from you, those emotions after that fight. Is that how you felt? You're like, man, we could have done this. We probably could have ended it early. We could have probably dominated more. What was your thoughts when you talked to Errol? If you want to just give us a brief.
Well, we never really talked about it because I think that we have a relationship where we don't get into it. We don't go over stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it's like, because I know how he has to feel by not being able to fight in the fight. So I'm not going to touch on it because when you know your people, you know your people. And I mean, I'm not like I was upset, but I think that we missed the opportunity. But I mean, really, it's life, man. The situation happened, he got the detached retina. You can't go back on that. But he still wanted to fight with the detached retina, but they wouldn't approve him, so that's just life.
Talking about the detached retina, we've seen Errol active in some of the fights. Just recently won Crawford versus Porter.
Right.
How is he so far? When we see his comeback, there's a lot of potential fights for him in the near future. I know there's a lot of with the sanctioning bodies with Ugas, but are we going to see Errol in the near future, probably next year?
I think, he'll be fighting, man. Yeah, he'll be fighting. I think there's a lot of fights out there for him. And he's looking forward to it. I mean, you got to think about somebody missing that type of opportunity and to get another opportunity, and be able to fight again. He wants those fights, man. So we'll see him get in there and have some great fights.
Derrick, after last weekend's performance of Crawford versus Porter, Errol, when he was walking, he was like, he made that.
Where he made the face towards Kenny Porter, not because of Sean.
Yeah.
Not because of the fight. And we told him to leave in the 12th round. So don't even watch the last round. So that's what I told him. So, because you don't want to be part of a show, a horse and pony show. You came to watch the fight, get out of there. And basically, that's what he did. He did what we asked him to do. So what everybody else is talking about, he did that because the way Kenny stopped the fight. And if you listen to Kenny Porter's interview, he said, I was going to stop the fight before the fight. They said, what did you see in the fight that makes you think you needed to stop the fight? He said, I didn't see anything in the fight. He said, I was going to stop the fight because of what he did in training.
So it was probably planned out already. Kenny was going into the fight already knowing that I'm probably going to stop the fight.
No, but it wasn't because of what Terence Crawford was doing.
Yeah,
he already knew, I'm going to stop the fight just because. And he stopped the fight just because. And then I think Sean, in retaliation, retired without talking to him. So it was like a power struggle type thing going on.
As a trainer, doing that premature stoppage, quote unquote premature stoppage, is that something that is just very, at the end of the day, that is discussed prior to the fights, during training camp? How is that measured, or how do you measure? Obviously, you haven't been in that situation just yet, and don't plan on it. But how do you measure that? And seeing one of your fighters,
you know your guy, and you know what your guy can endure, and you know what he can weather, and so I think that's the big thing. I mean, Sean said I was hurt more when I fought against Errol Spence. That's what he said. So what that means is, I'm not gonna get into it, but put it like this. He knew, the father stopped the fight, that's the game, man. You can't get it back. But he said, going into the fight, I knew I was gonna stop the fight. He didn't say if he gets hit, he said, I knew I was gonna stop the fight.
Talking about Errol, once the opportunity presents itself, is that still discussion? We'll talk a little bit more about Charlo, because it was just mentioned that in February it's going to be the.
Well, I didn't hear that. I don't know, but you telling me that.
Yeah, it was all over Twitter already saying that Charlo and Castano will be the second fight. It's going to happen in February in Toyota Center in Houston, Texas.
Well, thank you for telling me.
I know you knew, Derrick.
No, I'm not on Twitter.
I know you're on Facebook, but I know Twitter is where all the.
But I'm not really on there though. I'm on there, but I'm not really. I work 7 days a week. I don't have time to really watch. I'm not on it. If I'm on it for 5 minutes, that's too long. I watch.
Derrick, so many times in the last few years, it's probably already up here with you, but are we gonna definitely see that fight with Spence and Crawford that everybody's just eager to see it? And I know you wanted to.
It's like this. I'm just a trainer, not a manager. And listen, anything is possible. You never know. I think that anything is possible. You just never know. I believe that, if Errol wants to fight, it's gonna happen. So I think that if he wants it, he said he wants it. It could happen.
Derrick, lastly, Charlo, Castano, the second fight, as it was announced, actually today or yesterday it was announced, it's going to happen in February. What tactics would this change differently so you don't leave it to the judges? Because we know the last one, it was a tough fight.
And you can say what you feel.
No. It was a tough fight for both. It was a tough fight, and honestly, it's like we didn't expect Castano to come out the way he did, and it was kind of hard to take him out of the.
Castano only did what Jamel let him do. Because if you look at the fight, go back and watch whatever. When Jamel was throwing punches, Castano was running and moving away. He only threw punches when Jamel stood there in a particular pose, and that's the only time he threw punches. So, I think that in the last 4 rounds, when Jamel was on him, I told him he was behind on the cards. He was trying to run for dear life because Jamel was on him. So I think that, I just think you just got to jump out there, jump on him, fight your fight. Whatever the fight is, fight your fight.
So for sure, we're gonna expect a knockout going into February.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that, man. I'm like Kenny Porter, depending on what happens in training camp.
Derrick.
Depending on what happens in training camp, man. You never know.
Derrick, thank you so much for speaking with Fight Hub TV. Thank you so much for your time. I'm always glad to speak with you. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.